Hello, everyone. Massive welcome to this very first deep dive into P-FMS, the pilot's financial management system. The point of this video is really just to give you a really good understanding of what P-FMS is all about, how it fits into the greater schemes of your finance world, and really maybe why I've needed to build this. So for the last 15 years or so, I've been completely focused on the finance world around aviation and specifically pilots. You know, it was a dream for me as a kid. There was two jobs, pilot or Superman. And when I was like 4 or 5 years old, my granny said, Superman doesn't exist anymore. And I'm still seeing a psychiatrist about forgiving her about that. But pilot it was. And so for me personally, I think for most of you, that's kind of been the dream and part of the identity and what I've always wanted to be. It didn't work out that way for me to actually become a professional pilot like you are. But I wangled my way back into aviation through initially an insurance business, focusing on insurance, loss of license, those kind of things for pilots, and then very naturally progressed into quite a big investment business. And as our clients have moved all over the world, so I've had to completely upskill myself in the investment space to offer the best stuff, the best structures, the best pricing, all those kind of things. So all of this experience, over the last 15 years have kind of forced me to just permanently improve on the value that I could possibly offer to my community, the pilot community. And with all these iterations and like all of us know how IT and AI and software and all these kind of things, we're almost being bombarded with. And initially it was a bit upsetting, and then I realized, but we should actually be using all of this to our advantage, especially in the finance world, which can be really confusing. And so about 2 years ago, I started down that road, and I started something that's called Captain Circle, which is a community of pilots. And my focus there was very much on education. So I did all kinds of deep dives into finance, into money, with boot camps and all kinds of things. But what I learned there, and look, it was very popular. I got about 100 people through in the first month and a half. So people were showing up, but the problem was no one was completing the courses. No one was actually finishing the groundwork, and they were paying for it. That's not what the point is of all these things I do, which is really kind of value adds. The point isn't for me to make money. The point is for me to actually enrich their lives. And then, that old saying with the rising tide lifts all boats, quite a big believer in that. Anyway, so I had a lot of people joining up, paying for it, but they're not completing it. So I realized that pilots really don't want master classes. They don't want more education. They don't need more responsibilities or more things to add on the to-do list. Between the check rides and the sims and the medicals and your normal life, family pulling you in all kinds of directions, you simply don't have time for it. And what I really believe is pilots just want clarity. The more automated we can get that clarity, the better. It also kind of brings me to this burden of performance, and it's almost like a specialist trap that I see most pilots find themselves in. And it's because you really are a total specialist. You spend all these years perfecting your art and completely focused on your skill set, kind of like what I've done just in the finance world. So as, children look up to pilots as superheroes, you've become your own superhero. And the catch is that the superhero status makes it harder to ask for help in areas outside the cockpit. And this is especially finances and the emotional health side, which of course everyone's talking about. You train for the invincible in the air, but vulnerability on the ground is where the clarity begins. So this is me trying to give you some of that clarity. The invisible barriers. My experience is no profound shame in the cockpit regarding finances. the myth that high income equals financial mastery is also not true because of all these opposing outside forces pulling you. The pilot FMS removes the shame factor completely. It's a private, secure tool to spend a little time with and get absolute clarity with no judgment and just data. I'm quite a fan of Dr. Brené Brown, and she's all about vulnerability and in leadership positions. She deals with, the top Fortune 500 biggest CEOs in the world. And I very often think that a lot of pilots are in very similar mindsets. Industry gaps, the heads in the sand. I've also written some articles about this. I think there's at least 100 pilots currently burying their heads because there's no clear vectors, and banks just treat you as ATMs and scams just treat you as prey. So what I'm really trying to build is a product tested, designed, built for pilots for your unique lifestyle. Massively, obviously focused on the financial side of things. Just that there's no catches, no gotcha moments, just pure data that you drive to see where you are and where you want to go, and somewhere that you can get the exact vectors to make it in between. Some good news. I think we all know this now. Boeing and Airbus are saying we need another 650,000 pilots by 2042. I think that's amazing, just for the growth of where the industry is going. And obviously we'll see where the latest, war in the Middle East, what that's going to mean. Temporary, but that's going to be a temporary, I'm sure of it. So within the P-FMS, there's something quite unique that we built into it, and this is an industry-first automated drag audit, and it finds all the leaks for you. So what it will do is it will automatically go and do comparisons on any financial products you have within the market. So it really doesn't matter what it is, if it's an old retirement annuity or pension or preserver, or if it's some investment you've got currently running on the investment side, it'll actually go and battle test that against the rest of the market. And there we normally find quite a lot of savings in there. Now, the savings could be in just simply the cost of running that investment, or the saving could obviously be from a structure point of view. A lot of different things happen. Like depending on where you're flying, which country, your nationality, all these kind of things. We very often find a lot of money hidden just by making a couple of tweaks or changing an underlying portfolio. And on the insurance side as well, almost always guaranteed to find some savings within that. Now, these are just averages, just that I had some numbers to work with, but I'd say really on the low average side, and this is on the wealth side, we'll save at least $1,000 a year on our fees and costs and those kind of things, and insurance things, at least $600 a year. This is just to kind of give you an idea. Obviously, each person is different, and I think for most of you watching, it would be substantially more than that. Yeah, maybe let me share this. So I really, before going into building and designing this structure, I looked everywhere for if something like this actually exists. Because obviously it's been much easier just to, buy into someone else's software, but it really doesn't. There's a whole mix of different kind of software. So there's software that would only do like a budgeting program, or there's a software that would only look at what kind of, maybe trying to calculate your insurance needs, or there's a software that'll only calculate your investment needs. But there's nothing that'll take a snapshot of where you are now, really give you the time to discuss your hopes, dreams, aspirations, and put it on. I'll show you now. It's very beautiful. Put it on as like a dream board, and then help you with the vectors to actually get there. Okay. This is just what I said. Now maybe just a repeat of that. So our main thing is automatically tracking any assets you have, and then a clear exit number. And this clear exit number, I don't think any of us really give ourselves the permission to do that. But if we don't know what that ideal outcome looks like, it makes it really hard for us to work towards it and for you to achieve that. Okay, before I go any further, let me start. Let me switch over. I'm going to switch over to the actual P-FMS, and I can show you what this looks like. Okay, when you get there, you're going to just log in. It's very easy. You're just going to log in with your Gmail account, or you can start a new one. And just let me run through this quite quickly. I'm not putting in the right one. Don't worry. This is a video after all. I'm going to put the right number in because I don't mind. They can phone. South African residency, we make way for lots of nationalities. Tax residency is obviously very important because that changes the structure of investments and very often insurance as well. Country employer, let's just say 350, brand new kit. Okay, and yeah, this is the authority to do the auto check in the industry. Okay, dreams. Now you can go have a lot of fun with whatever your dreams and aspirations are. So what you would like to make that, let's say, want to buy a boat, and let's say it's 1.5 million rand. That number's right. And where we now, 26. So let's say in 4 years, I want to do that. You can add any description to it, but by the river. Okay, so this is your dreams. And you can build these dreams any way you like. You can add those dates to it. You can add, make it at retirement date as well. So what we could do, let me see if I've got a picture of a house here somewhere. So I can say house by the dam, and then I can go and make it whatever the retirement date is. You can just back check that and retirement. Now, what it will do in the back end, it'll take that year as the year of acquisition. So it'll actually go and look at that 6 million rand house, and it will add probably a 4% increase in that price every year. And it'll actually add it to it so that it makes sure you actually have the correct amount of capital when you get there. Otherwise, it's pointless. Otherwise, it's paper exercise. Okay, let's say I've only got these two dreams. Obviously, you can make this board as big or as small as you want to. Okay, let's go like this. That's my retirement age. I can say, what kind of monthly income would I like at retirement? So I'm just going to say, for argument's sake, I want to get to 60,000 rand because remember the idea behind this, you're feeding it all your assets and liabilities in the next tab. So the idea behind this is after all the liabilities are paid off. So you've got these dreams. So you've got all those assets, you've acquired them. So this is really, food, maintenance, spending money, that kind of thing. Okay. Really gives you a bunch of, the next thing you can do is see what kind of investment strategy you would follow. I'd say, there's a lot of formulas for this, for what you should be doing. For me, at my age, still having, 26 years to go, I'm still safe. I can still do the aggressive rate. Now I can put in all your assets and liabilities into it. So I'm going to keep this simple. I'm just going to say, put your airline description in there. Say my monthly income. Well, that'll be nice. Choose. Not yet. Add properties, family home, one balance, interest rate, 9.5%, bond repayment, 34,000 rand. Term, you can just go look the term on your bond payment. And then what's the annual growth looking like in your area? So you can go through and add all your investments you've got. So whatever it is, all RAs, current investments, things you're contributing towards. You can add your liabilities in there as well. And there's a really nice budget tab. And these things are really important to go through them and calculate them. I'm just It's probably going to take me 5 minutes to run through it. So just to ease time, to save some time, I'm not going to do each and every single one of them. But you can add all your budgetary items, all your liabilities, all your investments, everything in here. Then on the insurance side, so this is now obviously if you elect to do it manually, you can elect to do it automatically as well, which just means we just auto-populate it in the back end. But you can go and put in what investments or what insurance you've got at the moment. And this is under the loss of license. So let's say 90,000 Rand a month loss of license. And based on my salary input, it says, I've only got 60% of my loss of license covered there, and you should be aiming for 75%. So that'll just give you a hint there, and it's also a nice way to kind of keep yourself updated over time, because this is a working, living document. All right, now you can put in your life insurance here, 10 million. And so you can put your disability and your critical illness, etc., in there as well. Okay. Now, what you've got is you have got the homepage, the foundation of the cockpit going, and you've also got, let me see, and you've also got this showing you over the years what's going to happen with your finances. So a very important thing that you can do here is change your burn rate. So the burn rate is the amount of money that you go through every month. And I wanted to put in a slider here so that if you wanted to skip, because we skipped a lot of the steps now, so it's not populating this accurately, but I can show you the exact same thing, so that you can use this to say, where will I look, what will I look like if everything continues the way it is now, up until that retirement age of 65 or exit age. It's called a retirement age on here, but it's actually an exit age, because obviously you can make that age whatever you wanted to. If you're young enough to be able to, retire at 50, 55, then great. This is the kind of tool that you'll use. And you'll be able to play around and toggle these numbers to see exactly when you see those two. So I'll just show you, this is the conservative, moderate, and aggressive portfolios. I showed you earlier where you can select this. This just gives you an indication of where you would be by choosing any of those selected methods. We've gone a couple of steps further. We've said we can include windfalls into this. So the windfalls are something like, if you have aging parents and you've got, a house that you can inherit, and the house is worth 10 million Rand, you can add it into that, and you can make assumptions here of when you think you would inherit it, and that would obviously change the projection. Also financial milestones. So if there's something specific you want to save and invest towards, for many of us, we want to save and invest towards a second, third, fourth investment property. This is a really nice way to do it. You can put in the targets, the amount of money that you want to contribute, or the amount of money you have at the moment, and you can add that as a milestone into it, and it can track that for you as well. All right, this section will show you the total coverage of all your insurance policies. And if you remember, I just didn't add any investments or assets previously, but it'll show all your assets and your liquid assets, exactly what your position is right now. I thought it'd be nice just to have one place to see everything up together really, really quickly. This is going to be empty, but this is also have all your investments in here with all your portfolios exactly aligned under each other, like this. It'll give you average returns against the initial investment. So that'll be really nice just to see how everything grows, as well as your total monthly contributions. And again, just one very simple, sleek place to see everything in one spot. And the safety auditor is mostly around your insurance products. Okay, so the idea is really for you to get to this cockpit over here and see everything, see exactly what your net worth is, what the target amount is to that exit date, how much savings. And what this is going to do is this is going to actually populate and say how much you need to save extra to get to that date. And then years to retirement. So all these things you can edit, and really nice and special for me about this, completely in your control. The numbers are accurate, so you can go and play around with, entry ages, exit ages, as long as the snapshot you have right now is accurate. So all the investments, all the assets, liabilities, all that's accurate. It'll be able to give you an extremely accurate idea or vector as to what it is that you actually need to do next to reach whatever that goal is. Yeah, I think it's very neat. I haven't seen anything like this before, where it's just in one place. Okay, there's a lot of added things here. So we've got an education hub, and this is really just, you almost treat this as a AI chatbot. So I've put in maybe 30,000, maybe more emails of mine into this. The 2 books that I've written, 90% it's in here. So there's a lot of my IP into this. And I think this would be a really nice hub, just anything around tax, money. But I just want to make this point now, guys, that nothing in here can ever be taken as gospel. This isn't the same as talking to myself and getting like a real human interaction. This is built for you as like an ongoing tool to measure yourself against your hopes, dreams, and goals. This will be a place for all your documents. So all your investment policies, insurance policies, you can save anything, and you can save your tax stuff. You can save your passwords in here. You can do whatever you want. And a really nice one is this bond accelerator. So this is fascinating. This I've used lots of times. And again, a calculator that I've built that I haven't seen anywhere else. But you can go and say, you want to buy a property for whatever the amount is, 1.5, that's the interest rate, that's the monthly repayment on this. But if I pay an extra, 10,000 Rand a month into that, what does that mean? That means that I'm saving, 13 years of time, paying it off much faster. And you can play around with that. And the idea for me with this is when you put a tenant in and you're working out that rental income, you can go and see exactly, but what if you maybe just pay the bond and whatever the tenant pays, you add into it. It'll show you exactly how much time you save. And of course, the massive amount of interest there it shows the interest saved. So really nice tool. I think a lot of people can spend time on that tool. And then just links to Captain Circle, which is the overall community platform. That's Captain Circle sits at the top, and then within Captain Circle, we've got the community, and we've got all these, courses. A lot of emotional health and courses coming up as well. There's some great ones in there, but more coming up. And then the P-FMS is one of the tools that live within Captain Circle as a standalone tool. Okay, that's it. This is amazing. I think this is going to simplify so many things for you. Okay, let me get back to that presentation again. That should be, nope, this is the wrong one. Here's the right one. Almost gave away some secrets. Wasn't supposed to. All right. This is an idea of what kind of our growth projection is for the P-FMS. I think it's very important to share up front that I'm ambitious with this. I think it's a tool that everyone could make real use of, irrespective of where you are in your career. And as our industry grows, we're going to be sitting at around the million mark of ATPs in, I'd say, 15 years' time. So I'm to get to about that of the market, this with a lot of other initiatives. But I thought it'd be nice to just share some of my ambition and where I want to go with this. And the fascinating part is that we're in the driving seat. And this is really important for me. My focus is on getting the first 100 people on that can use it, or to be pilots that can see this from your perspective. Because the problem is, I can't just be left building this by myself because I see finance and money naturally, I think, a little bit differently. And I would build it for something that I would want to have. But I'm not the person using it. You're the person using it. I'll be able to build this exactly and precisely to what'll work best for you and life and your family and your hopes and your dreams and get as simple as possible to use. So that's why the 100 is absolutely vital. I would like to have people that are be interested in helping us grow this. And what I mean by interested in helping us grow this is give us real feedback. Like if you struggle with something, if you get to a point where you're like unsure which button I should push, or there's no clarity, or it doesn't make sense. I want people who's willing to take the 2 minutes and send that email and say, man, here's the screenshot. I don't know what this is. Can you guys fix it? Or I think this thing's completely broken, or whatever it is. But I think that's the way we're going to be able to build something that's absolutely, completely tailored and made for you, because you are the ideal person that I'm building this for. Okay, so remember I said earlier I went to go look at the market to see what kind of products exists. Basically, all of them are out of this, and none of them at all of those functionalities. I mean, definitely not the market check. That's, I think, a big value add. And all of them were charging anything between $150 and $1,000 a month. Now, $1,000 a month, sure, they had certain requirements, in terms of investable income and that kind of thing. But that was the range. And of course, for me, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I think that barrier to entry becomes too big. And like I said, this is the alpha offer, the first 100. I really just want to get the first 100 people in so we can start actually hammering it down and perfecting it. So this one for the first 100 people is going to be $10 a month. So a cup of coffee or a burger. We're going to have to always just bill it annually at 120. That just makes sure the fees are a little bit lower. And it includes a lot of things. I've wanted to front load this with value. The first thing, and I think what's extremely important, is concierge onboarding call with Michael, who's the lead developer who actually made this and built the software. We're going to definitely have to charge for that later on and probably do it as an optional extra. And again, market research say the guys are charging $100 to $200 for that. I'm also going to give you 2 golden tickets. So just as a gift, I will give you access for 2 of your friends for 1 year, completely for free, including the call. For obvious reasons, because I think if you're my kind of person, which means you are interested in growth and achieving greater things and the community out much better, then I bet that your 2 best aviation friends are as well. And they would be the kind of people that I'd want to build this with. And we're also going to lock in this price for you, just as a thank you for part of it right in the beginning. And I've also, Andrew's done this amazing course on relationships. Your view with you shouldn't say FO, with your at home. Relationships are everything. I've just seen over the years, if at home aren't doing too great, then the finances also skips a beat. And his course is fantastic. I've done it. I know close to 50, 60 people who have done that course and really helped a lot and really uplifted everything. So total value, $2,400. But for you, it's only $10 a month. I couldn't come up with a better idea of making it more attractive. And of course, as you know, we simply can't do it for free, because if we do it for free, no one would give feedback. Just no one cares about free stuff. That is all I have. I'll put a link in this description at the bottom of how you can sign up. But in the first week, you can expect us to be playing around quite a lot at the back end, making quite a bit of changes. But we will start with the onboardings with Michael this week already. Thanks for watching. I try to keep it as short as possible, but as you can see, there's quite a lot of information to take in and going on. But I appreciate you being here. We'll chat soon. Cheers.